welcome. This is the Market Wrap on Bloomberg Quint. Let's take a look at how the markets have fared today and through the course of the week. I'm going to start off with, well, how markets did pan out today, and, well, largely listless, at least as far as the benchmarks are concerned. But we did have the OMC stand out in trade. So we did have HPCL, IOC, along with BPCL advance in trade. A little bit of short covering coming through for the likes of Yes Bank and JSW Steel too. And on the losing end, of course, Kotak Mahindra Bank on the back of that big bulk deal. We've seen GAIL India, Reliance Industries surprisingly bearing down on the indices, as has HDFC Bank. So, well, a whole host of these companies actually, well, really under pressure. But what about the broader markets? What are the stocks that stand out there? So once again, Suzlon Energy looking at a 29% gain. And we've seen gains in GVK Power, Tech Solutions up 17%, Inox Wind. A lot of these companies have been under pressure through the course of 2018. So now starting to look at some amount of recovery. On the losing end, Just Dial, SH Kelkar, IDBI Bank and Persistent Systems showing some amount of weakness. But this is as far as today is concerned. What about the week? How has the week panned out? So for the Nifty, it advanced by around 0.6%. Vedanta, ONGC and Indian Oil Corp among the top gainers as far as the benchmarks are concerned. And on the losing end, we have TCS, which is actually bearing down on the index, considering it's a heavyweight. Kotak Mahindra Bank, IndusInd Bank and Coal India. So watch out for these stocks as we move into trade next week. But coming down to your broader markets, again on the NSE 500, it is essentially Suzlon Energy, which has, well, given returns of as much as 67%. It is a penny stock. It is a stock which is less than 10 rupees per share at this point in time. Reliance Nippon Asset, of course, is because of the fact that, well, the group is considering selling their stake to Nippon. And by the group, I mean by the ADAG group. GVK Power, Infra, Reliance Home Finance advancing by as much as 25%. And again, on the losing end, Kaveri Seed Company down 16% after, well, some concerns emerging since losing its license in Andhra Pradesh. Hathway Cable and Datacom, Infibeam and Lux Industries all under pressure as far as the week's concerned. But, well, it was a fairly reasonably all right week, considering a 1% gain on the Nifty 500. But let's talk about the events that, well, charted to a certain extent the course of the week as well. So on Wednesday, we actually had a bunch of, developments. Firstly, when it comes to the FOMC meet abroad, there was no talk of rate cuts, which was a positive, at least as far as the global markets are concerned. We also had Tech Mahindra announce its first buyback at around 950 rupees per share, at a significant premium to the market price then. And of course, so we also had the Supreme Court hold Anil Ambani and 3 other Reliance Group firms guilty of contempt, and which of course didn't really augur down well for the entire group. On Thursday, of course, Jet Airways, EGMs really didn't do too much for their shareholders. And moreover, we also had the MPC minutes, which had suggested that there is a little more room for further rate cuts, which should have given our markets a little more of a thumbs up. And of course, Reliance Capital, as I've already suggested, has offered its to sell its stake to this AMC to Nippon Life. So this is one other development that we're going to keep track of as we move in to trade over the next few weeks. But where do we stand when it comes to trade in terms of, well, your levels, especially as we move into expiry? So there you have it. Well, that is as far as your open interest is concerned. At this point in time, it's 10,700 and 10,800. Largely the two levels that we're keeping an eye on as we move into trade next week. But what are those events which are going to determine World trade as we move into next week? So firstly, on Sunday, the 24th February, that's the Prime Minister Narendra Modi will launch the PM Kisan scheme that assures 6,000 rupees per annum as income support for farmers. And the first tranche of 2,000 rupees will be transferred to bank accounts of 1 crore farmers. And the 33rd GST Council meeting has also been deferred to Sunday, so the Council will consider tax relief for the real estate sector. And moving on to Tuesday, we will see which will be a big day for, as far as the legal calendar is concerned, where the Supreme Court will start hearing the Ayodhya case again. And meanwhile, we also have the Company Law Tribunal, where Bhushan Power insolvency case also comes up. On Thursday, the 28th of February, the Finance Ministry will release a slew of economic data, core data for the month of December, the third quarter GDP, as well as fiscal deficit numbers for December, which are also due on that day. And finally, on Friday, the markets will release Nikkei India manufacturing PM for the month of January. So again, that's going to be another important macro factor to watch out for. All in all, it's going to be another very eventful week, which could actually lead to a lot more volatility as we move into trade next week too. And on that note, it's a wrap on this edition of the Market Wrap. But lots more lined up. Stay tuned to Bloomberg.
Fulfill your dreams of buying a new house, new car, or achieving academic success.